Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. This is iAllegedly. And I've got a good one for you today because you've got a small bank with a very big problem right now. And we need to have everybody look at this one because this is going to be a small bank with a big problem that's only going to get worse. Anyways, before I get into it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, join the email list. And today we have a sponsor, Patriot Gold, and I'll talk about them later. But first things first, remember when we had the problems in March? You had the first two banks go down, Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and then in May, we had First Republic go down. And I'm in Newport Beach right now, and in Corona del Mar, they've got a branch in Irvine, and man, oh man, they were very close to completely losing everything, but they got bailed out, most of their assets, by the big behemoth JP Morgan. Now, you know, there's a story there, but the other story is not, you know, First Republic. It's the fact that there's a bank called Republic First, which is not the same bank. First Republic and Republic First, two different banks. Republic First is a much smaller bank. It only has $6 billion in assets. To give you an idea how small this bank is, it is 0.2% of what JP Morgan is. Not 1%, 0.2%. So it's 0.2% of 1% of the size of JP Morgan. Now, this bank, the thing that's unbelievable about this place is that it is like Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, where they have all these paper losses that do not show up on a balance sheet, and they really don't have to report to anybody until somebody starts lifting the hood of the car and looking at how bad the bank is. So this bank has major problems, which the reason why I made this video this morning was, think about this, 60% of the deposits at this bank, 60% are uninsured, okay? The bank is boasting right now, hey, listen, we've only lost 10% of our deposits since we started talking about having trouble. I am telling you guys, this bank is having problems, but do you think they're the only banks that's having problems? You're kidding yourself if you think that. So, could they go out of business? Yes, absolutely. They have the same problems that Silicon Valley Bank had, that Signature had, and First Republic. Now let's talk about First Republic. First Republic, there's a great FDIC report that got issued yesterday that I'm probably one of the only guys in the world that would read, and of course they issued this on a Friday. See, this is what's wrong with the world right now. You can say, well, Dan, there's transparency. They issued a report. They told us how bad it was. They told us that they could have probably been saved and they may not have needed JP Morgan. Hold the phone. This is wrong, guys. This is absolutely wrong, because this report that gets issued talks about how they had the losses. They may have been able to be saved if they would have restructured differently, but it wasn't done that way. It was Jamie Dimon coming in there and just, you know, cleaning the carcass and leaving the stuff that was no good. I want to remind you guys, for those of you that have been around, remember the 1987 movie Wall Street? Bud Fox, played by Charlie Sheen, Michael Douglas, Gordon Gekko. Greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed's right. Greed's what cuts through and, you know, and kills the evolutionary spirit, blah, 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 blah. You know, I could do the whole thing. Anyways, the point is, of that movie, is that Michael Douglas was supposed to be the corporate raider that was modeled after people like, you know, the KK brothers, whatever the name of that, can't think of the name right now, and then the other corporate raider who bought Pan Am, and I'll think of his name later. But anyways, these guys bought things, sold off parts, and made a ton of money on the stock. But then this guy, you know, Michael Douglas's character, would get inside information and buy on it and things like that, and mess with people and do things that were unscrupulous. That was the whole point of the movie. But the point of this was that Michael Douglas went out, and Bud Fox gets named CEO of Blue Star Airlines in the movie, and he goes to meet his buddy who's the corporate lawyer who handled the financing. Hey buddy, how's it going? He's kind of disenchanted by the whole thing at this point, but they're like, well, you're CEO, you don't know what's going on? What do you mean there's a meeting? I had no idea there was a meeting. And they're basically explaining at this meeting that they're going to liquidate the company, and Gordon Gekko's going to buy the overfunded pension and make, you know, $50-80 million, whatever the figure was, inside of a very short period of time for basically buying this company. And Bud Fox says, wow, you know, I just left the garage sale, Gordon, for Blue Star because you're liquidating everything. That's what happened to First Republic. Jamie Dimon bought what he wanted. He bought some of the debt. He bought the good debt, guys. He didn't buy the bad debt. He didn't buy the stuff that was not performing. He bought the stuff that people were paying so that they could bring them over. That was the whole thing. So that's what we're experiencing right now with these banks. And it is unbelievable because you're going to see more bank closures happen. And again, I'm so proud of everybody that's written me in the last week, and for some reason it's been dozens of you. Dan, I got an extra bank account. Dan, I'm retired, but I put together the cash you talked about and I have it hidden, and I've told nobody except for my oldest son or my, you know, confidant. Everybody has it. So if something happens, they're protected. But congratulations to those of you that have done that. Now, the outflows of banks, there has been so much money leaving the banks in the last few months that you cannot ignore this. You know, you can have, you know, Republic First sit there and say, hey, we only had 10% of the outflows go. But when you have billions of dollars leave these small institutions to go to the bigger banks, they're not going to make it. Now, here is what is staggering, and this comes from the stories below that you have to look at. And that is, they say that these small banks in the next 100 days, 3 months, guys, 3 months, they're going to need $100 billion of inflow of money, or they're going to need to be bailed out. Well, 100 days, there you go, guys, 100 days. So this problem is only going to get worse. This problem is only going to become a bigger problem. And hell, I'm protected, I deal with a small bank. Great, okay? Again, sit down with the small bank and have this conversation. I have been dealing, you know, yesterday with my girlfriend's estate and cars and different things, and I had to go to some different banks for this. And one thing that floored me was I was in a bank that I do not bank at, and let's just put it this way, Mr. Cool Guy had the appointment in front of me. Mr. Cool Guy, hey listen, I want to talk to you about this ridiculous $250,000 thing. I heard I can get it raised. What can I do to make that happen? Excuse me? The FDIC insurance for cash? You know, look, I'm the guy. Huh? And the bank's like, no, sir, it's 250. Now, there's securities. You can have it increased if you have securities and, you know, SPIC, blah, blah, blah. You can go there. But these, it's an individual account. Wait a second. You just can't fix it for me? Like, he's the guy that can get more insurance than you and I. Again, have some common sense, guys. If you're going to rely on that insurance, which I think is insanity, because they've proven us that the insurance companies are not there. You think your bank's insurance is going to be there for you? You better pray. I mean, if that's what you're holding on, hope for, you better pray that that's going to be there, because man, oh man, do I have zero faith in these people? Less than zero, okay? They're going to have to pay me to have faith right now. So, I don't know if it's just a Southern California jerk thing that you get with people, but man, you get pretension, you know? And I'm telling you, it's one thing, you can be wealthy. And I meet a lot of wealthy people that you don't know are wealthy, and they don't shove it down your throat. But Cool Guy, just, hey, I'm the guy. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay. And there's no insurance, extra insurance for you. And the thing that was disturbing for me was about this. Now think about this. There's ways around this. Multiple accounts, different locations, things like that, to make sure your insurance is good. And the guy at the bank didn't offer any of that. And I'm like, wow. One of the people at the bank that worked there that I didn't have the appointment with knew who I was. He's like, hey, he pulls out his phone. He goes, which video should I show this guy? I'm like, don't say a word, please. Don't say anything to this guy. I don't want to start this conversation. But do you guys get it? The problem, remember, hey, we've avoided the banking debacle. Really? Did you? You guys think that this was avoided. I don't. But the report about First Republic is ridiculous because JP Morgan owns that. You know, and it's funny, I got another story sent to me that I really wasn't going to cover, but this is kind of relevant in that, you know, I talk about having different brokerage accounts, different bank accounts, things like that. TD Ameritrade merged with Schwab, and I didn't know that, but they had, you know, 1.2 million accounts that were merged this week and were transferred over, and I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. So I'm supposed to be in this business, and that was news to me. So share your thoughts. I'm always grateful for everything that you guys send me, but man, oh man, oh man, you gotta be leery of this stuff, and don't hesitate to ask questions. How is my bank safe? How am I gonna protect myself? You're allowed to ask these questions, and you don't have to be the idiot, the wealthy jerk. You don't have to be that guy. It's your bank, you're the customer. Ask these questions, okay? Let me know what you think so far. Let's talk about our sponsor, Patriot Gold Group. You know, with the instability of these banks and the fact that the Fed's going to raise interest rates next week, you should be concerned about your retirement and the future of your money. One thing that you can do is you can look at an IRA or 401k that's backed by physical metals. Patriot Gold Group has been the #1 rated gold company for 7 years in a row with Consumer Affairs. They also sell other types of precious metals. Silver, my favorite metal, but call them today, 888-330-1431. They have a free investor guide that they can send out to you. It's absolutely no obligation. So many of you have called. I have had tremendous success with Patriot Gold. I'm their national spokesman. I love the company, but you guys need to take a look at protecting yourself and protecting your family before it's too late. Call them today. Look at physical metals. As the stock market starts to turn, protect yourself before it's too late. Call them today. Let them know that I allegedly sent you. 888-330-1431 today. You really have to look at how these banks are being ran right now and what's happening. You know, channels like this, the news that you can get from around the globe, it should be concerning to you. Some people just don't care. They just act like it's no big deal. Everything's great, Dan. It'll work itself out. Okay. Goldman Sachs is a very large investment bank, one of the biggest in the world. Okay. They just announced that they're going to fire 450 more people. And what they're disguising this as is, hey, the laggards, the people that are not performing, you're gone. So once again, you know, some people thrive under pressure. Some people thrive in, you know, sales competitions and do better. If you don't perform, you will be looking for a job. Some people hate that. Now, the thing about this that's disturbing about this is that we've heard this story before. And that is, they went to the managers at Goldman Sachs and they said, who are your weak links? Who do you want to get rid of? So man, oh man, do you think there's a few personalities they didn't like? What about Becky? Becky's always late and I hate the way she dresses better than I do. And you know, think that they did a little bit of that? Yeah. Okay, what about Johnny, who's always out late because he's got all the hot chicks and you're adult and you're, you know, Ken the dolt, okay? So yeah, there's going to be that too. So you can believe it's just the, you know, lowest performing 1%, because that's what they say it's going to be, but it's not, guys. And I hate popularity contests when it comes to the workforce, because good people get messed with. And when you mess with good people, people get sued for stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting. But the lesson in this is that, again, one of the world's largest investment banks, Goldman Sachs, is laying people off. And you know, I've already had people say, hey, listen, this is just a seasonal thing they do every year. No, it's not a seasonal thing they do every year. This is what's happening. Now, here's the thing. We talked about last week about how offers for new employment were down 27%, and that they're offering people less money, from 27 to 47% less money based on salaries. Wow, guys, you know, I can't tell you the last time, you know, when I interviewed, hey, this is what I want. We can't do that. Okay, well, how about this? And again, if you ask for 5, okay, you're never going to get 8. But if you ask for 12, whoa, 12? That's insane. I'm just using single-digit numbers, you know, and 2-digit numbers, okay, just to prove a point. The point is that you can never go up from that point. Later you can, but not in the first meeting. You can ask for more and get more. I've always gotten more doing that, you know, all the benefits, everything. But these poor people, they're done. These poor people are going to be looking for a job, and it's the sign of the times. You're seeing all these offers made for less money. You're seeing Walmart. Now think about what I'm about to tell you. This is seasonal hiring time. In the next 30 days, you're going to start hiring the seasonal help, and you're going to start romancing people to come into Walmart to have them, you know, hey, listen, what's it going to take to have you work at Walmart? They don't care right now. They don't care. They're paying people less money than ever. They're offering $2 to $5 to $8 less for certain positions right now, less money at Walmart. Okay, why? No, we don't care. We don't care. Somebody else will take it. So, sign of the times, guys. Sign of the times. So, everything is good in the economy. People, when I was in Laguna yesterday, and I had that video from yesterday, people were blown away saying, wow, you know, Dan, you had, you had the real estate agent, you had the bank that was closed, all these different corporate places that were down for the count. That is the sign of the times, guys. That is the sign of the times. You're seeing such a problem with getting, you know, loans right now, business loans right now. When you have business credit off, because think about this, when you are in business and you sell something, you sell a service, you are making a medical device, you're installing things, whatever, you need to have credit. You need to be able to have your supplier let you pick things up and pay them a week later, a month later, whatever, and that is getting dried up because the suppliers cannot afford it right now. This is the problem. It's going to force people out of business right now. You're seeing gas hovering around $6 a gallon for premium here. It's going to kill things because, well, why are we driving to your house? Why are we going to install this? You're going to see delivery fees that are going to go through the roof again, like we saw 2 years ago. It's going to happen again, but you're going to see people go out of business as a result of the high interest rates and the lack of credit. And you know, it's a problem, and it's not just the little companies, it's the larger companies. The larger companies are having problems right now as well. And man, when you read the story below about business credit, and you have banks that are cutting people off for you know, that have, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales, up to $10 billion in sales, it's crazy, guys. This is not a good place right now. The best thing that you can do is you can trim the fat on whatever you don't need. And if you need to buy something, I'm telling you, look at used right now. There's so much equipment. There's so many tractors, trailers, tools. There's so many things out there. Look at your competitors right now and what they're doing. And again, instead of being like, I hate those guys, I'd never speak to them, they're thieves, Dan. Okay. Have a conversation. Hey, if you guys ever getting rid of any trucks or anything like that, let me know first so that you know, we could pick stuff up. If you had a relationship, even if it was bad, you could make that phone call. So remember that, guys. I've seen this done time and again. Earlier this year, we talked a lot about how the IRS was going to hire 87,000 people. Well, guess what? IRS just announced that they're going to go after people that didn't pay their taxes. They're going after 1,600 millionaires. And I'm like, wow, well, how could you be a millionaire and not pay your taxes? That's what I don't understand. So what they have figured out is that these millionaires do these complex partnerships where they avoid paying taxes with tax avoidance schemes and things like that. So the IRS is using artificial intelligence and these new agents to look through this stuff and to get people that owe $250,000 more in taxes or more in taxes. Wow, okay? Now how about this? If you have a business that's valued at $10 billion, bravo to you, $10 billion. They're coming after you guys too. So they're starting to look at this. I mean, guys, that's a lot of money. I mean, that, you know, when, okay, small business cutoff, think about this. For as far as the SBA, during the health crisis, what was the figure? If you did $37 million or less in business, you were considered a small business. So the fact that these people are out there and they're doing $10 billion in business and they've got $10 billion in assets, and these people you know, aren't paying their taxes, don't you have an accountant? Don't you have people that work for you in-house? I mean, here's the thing. When you have a $2 million a year company, there's certain things you can get away with. But to grow from 2 to 5, you've got to have an HR person. You've got to have certain people in-house. And then from 5 to 10 million, it's even more. And then, you know, so on and so forth. I could go from there. But $10 billion, these people aren't paying their taxes, and they're looking for them right now. Another great Walmart story, you know, crime is rampant. Retail crime is rampant. They're having such issues with the self-checkout. We've talked about that till we're all blue in the face. But how about this one? The Walmart store in Atlanta was closed because of crime. They're going to open a police workspace. You know what, like it's, you know, summer camp, a police workspace inside the Walmart store in Atlanta because crime is so rampant. Move out of Atlanta, guys. Move out of Atlanta. And again, you're seeing more, you know, politicians that are victims of crime, and now, you know what we need? We need more police. Oh, okay. Okay, so a workspace for cops. Not just, I mean, it's almost funny, guys, when you think about this. A workspace. So it's going to be like Regis for the police. So they'll come by and you're going to be assigned this desk. It's nuts right now. So let me know what you think about that. Now, again, police presence deters crime. I'm all for it, 1,000%. But to sit there and act like this is something new is crazy. But do you guys have any stores that have cops? Like, hey, you go to the Walmart and they've got a police station in the store. You know, I've seen McDonald's, I've seen Burger King lately. Have you seen anything like that? Let me know. Let us know. Where? You know, pictures would be great. I mean, I've seen meat locked up. I've seen, you know, belts locked up. You know, Sachs are going next in Huntington Beach, California. But share your thoughts on this stuff, guys, because it's nuts. I'm going to finish this video with these last few stories and wrap them all together. The first one is a hiring manager, Ivy League, you know, linguistics manager, HR, said things not to do. And my favorite was, I always love reading these stories about how you should never say this to your boss, which a couple figures are, hi, how are you? It is what it is. Don't ever say that. Let's agree to disagree, that was the other one. And then, you know, they interviewed McDonald's workers, because these people are making TikToks now, and they're talking about how they hate people in the drive-thru. And if you want to wait, first thing you do is be rude to them. Anybody that's rude, they just have a code amongst themselves, and you're going to wait for your food because you were rude. Instead of saying, hello, how are you today? Okay? You know, okay. Bob Iger runs Disney. His goal right now is to stay there as long as possible. And all these former Disney executives said, we think that Bob Iger thinks he's going to sell Disney to Apple. And just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up, remember Pixar, the animation studio? Well, that was bought by Disney, you know, for $7.6 billion from Steve Jobs. And him and Bob Iger were really good friends. But Disney's not the same company that it was now. So he thinks that they're going to try to sell Disney to Apple. Wouldn't that be wild? So there's that. And again, who cares, right? But who cares? It's business news and it's fascinating. Final news, you know, whenever I do a story, I always inevitably get people that send me something. Jim out of the UK sent me the greatest story, which is below, talking about, you know, I mentioned about how the weight of a EV car in the old structures, the old parking structures in the UK could be a weight problem. Well, no, it's also the way the concrete was built. They used this process where they would inject air into the concrete, and it has proven to be faulty. Man, I couldn't imagine that in California. Man, you would have the shaking, and it would be done. Parking structures would collapse like house of cards. Anyways, in hospitals, obese people, read the story below. Jim's not making this up. Fat people have to stay on the first floor. They cannot be treated beyond the first floor at certain UK hospitals because of the cement that they use. Now, I'm telling you guys, what I want to see is the greatest, image of like no fat guy. You'd have the big fat belly with the red line through it. That would be awesome. It would be like, hey, fat man, stay on the first floor. You're going to collapse this building for all of us. Think about that. Is that crazy? So I did that without swearing too. Anyways, please don't forget to like the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Always appreciate your comments. And again, we have a very intelligent audience, guys. You guys are brilliant. But we're not living on an island, guys. This is an island that I'm walking on right now, so I love walking out here. But the idea with it, guys, is that this is the beginning of the problem, and it's only getting worse. And these small banks, protect yourself. Make phone calls, ask questions. Dan, I only have a few $1,000s in this bank. Who cares? Okay? Ask questions. You deserve answers. Onward and upward, guys. I'll see you guys very soon.